one of the clearest contrasts lies in digital consumption patterns. BTS undoubtedly dominated Billboard charts and streaming platforms, but those successes were usually anchored in mobilized fan campaigns and synchronized releases. Jungkook's solo feats, however, frequently emerged from a combination of organic public interest and mainstream audience adoption. On Spotify, for instance, Jungkook rapidly climbed to records that BTS as a whole had never touched. While BTS albums performed strongly, Jungkook's solo tracks reached daily streaming peaks that rivaled and sometimes surpassed group releases. The significance of this cannot be overstated. Group fandom can often inflate numbers for a release week, but sustaining high daily and weekly streams requires cross-demographic appeal. Jungkook managed to secure that with astonishing consistency. In Billboard's landscape too, Jungkook's name began appearing in territories where BTS as a group had not achieved dominance. While BTS held several no ones, Jungkook broke barriers into pop radio play, an area long resistant to Korean artists. It wasn't merely about charting, it was about infiltration into formats traditionally guarded against non-Western acts. This type of recognition extended his visibility beyond fans to casual listeners, something BTS, despite their immense fame, often struggled with in mainstream American spaces. Another milestone that Jungkook alone reached relates to cultural influence outside of the music charts. BTS had always been recognized as cultural ambassadors, representing South Korea globally and becoming symbols of national pride. Yet Jungkook, by himself, transitioned into an icon of lifestyle, fashion, and even generational identity. When global brands sought new faces to represent them, Jungkook was often chosen not just because he was part of BTS, but because his individual persona resonated with international consumers. His ambassadorship with Calvin Klein is a prime example. The campaign broke digital records, generating levels of engagement that eclipsed similar campaigns by Western celebrities. The impact was so substantial that marketing analysts began categorizing Jungkook as a cultural multiplier, someone whose involvement expanded a brand's global reach exponentially. This particular milestone highlights something BTS as a group never truly explored, being the singular face of global luxury campaigns. While BTS collaborated with brands collectively, their group deals did not match the level of individual impact Jungkook created when he stood alone in front of the camera. His ability to merge the allure of celebrity with the relatability of authenticity placed him in a category not often achieved by idols or even Hollywood figures. Perhaps the most intriguing element is how Jungkook's individual rise revealed a universality that sometimes exceeded the group's reach. BTS, as a 7-member unit, carried a complex identity. Each member brought something different, appealing to different types of fans. However, this diversity also created limitations. For casual audiences, the effort required to understand the group's dynamic could be overwhelming. Jungkook, on the other hand, presented a distilled version of that appeal. He embodied the visual charisma, the vocal talent, the danceability, and the relatability all in one package. This universality explains why his solo performances attracted not only ARMY, but also audiences unfamiliar with K-pop. It is one thing to mobilize an existing fan base. It is quite another to capture the attention of new markets. Jungkook did precisely that, positioning himself as a recognizable figure not just in music, but across entertainment spaces that had little to no prior engagement with Korean artists. Another distinction lies in the kind of risk Jungkook faced compared to BTS. As a group, failures were distributed. Success or disappointment was shouldered collectively. As an individual, however, Jungkook had to bear the weight of expectation alone. Every chart position, every performance, and every public appearance became a reflection of his personal brand rather than the group's. Surprisingly, these risks did not slow him down. They magnified the milestones when they were achieved. A solo debut on an international stage without the shield of 6 other members carried heightened scrutiny. Yet Jungkook repeatedly transformed these high-pressure moments into defining victories. His ability to handle global interviews, award show performances, and brand launches with grace and confidence showcased a maturity beyond his years. Finally, Jungkook's individual milestones altered the landscape of what Korean soloists could aspire to. Before him, even the most successful K-pop solo acts found their reach confined within specific regions or fan communities. Jungkook, however, proved that a Korean soloist could compete directly with Western mainstream stars, not only in chart placements, but also in cultural influence and commercial power. In this sense, Jungkook achieved something BTS as a group never did. He removed the K-pop qualifier and entered the conversation simply as a global artist. This subtle but profound shift is perhaps his greatest milestone, because it sets a precedent for future Korean artists who hope to be recognized beyond genre limitations. Jungkook, however, cracked this code. His solo singles received heavy rotation on US pop radio, becoming some of the most requested songs of their release periods. What BTS struggled to secure as 7 members, Jungkook achieved on his own: consistent radio recognition in the United States, the most competitive music market in the world. This accomplishment is not merely about hearing his voice on air, it is about validating his artistry to an audience beyond fandoms, where the casual listener decides which songs stay alive. Such a milestone reflects a subtle but transformative change. Radio success is not fan-voted. It cannot be controlled by streaming campaigns alone. It demands acceptance from programmers, DJs, and advertisers who must believe in the artist's cross-market viability. Jungkook's breakthrough in this area is something BTS, for all their record-breaking feats, never fully captured as a group. While BTS conquered the Billboard Hot 100 multiple times, their dominance was more concentrated in specific global markets. Jungkook, on the other hand, saw his songs simultaneously chart across multiple continents in ways that signaled a broader, more universal embrace. His music not only topped charts in Asia and the United States, but also found unexpected footholds in Europe, South America, and the Middle East. This kind of distribution is rare because it shows that his reach was not localized or dependent on one regional fan base. Instead, it was evidence of Jungkook's universal appeal, his ability to transcend language and cultural barriers with an immediacy that even BTS, as a collective, did not fully capture. While BTS certainly enjoyed international charting, Jungkook's solo records displayed greater diversity across territories. The fact that one individual could generate numbers rivaling or exceeding those of 7 artists together underscores how his personal brand resonated in spaces untouched even during BTS's height. BTS's rise was closely tied to social media platforms, where fandom mobilization thrived. Twitter trends, fan-organized streaming parties, and coordinated campaigns that boosted visibility. While undeniably effective, this strategy often created the perception that BTS's success was largely fan-driven rather than organically embraced by the wider public. Jungkook, by contrast, harnessed virality in a way that extended far beyond organized fandom activity. His appearances, performances, and casual public moments became viral events across platforms like TikTok and Instagram, reaching audiences who might not even identify as K-pop fans. For example, a single clip of him performing on stage or attending a fashion event could generate millions of views without any official promotion. This type of organic virality is distinct from BTS's group-driven campaigns because it relies on spontaneous audience engagement rather than coordinated efforts. It demonstrates that Jungkook has entered the realm of cultural currency, where his presence alone generates conversation and attention. While BTS collectively worked with major brands such as Louis Vuitton, Jungkook's individual foray into fashion created an entirely new kind of impact. His collaboration with Calvin Klein was not just another celebrity brand partnership. It was a global marketing phenomenon that redefined the power of an idol in luxury spaces. The campaign broke engagement records, surpassing the reach of comparable campaigns involving Hollywood actors or Western pop stars. Jungkook did not simply lend his image. He redefined the way the brand was perceived among younger generations. Analysts noted that Calvin Klein saw spikes in sales and digital interaction in markets where they previously struggled, largely due to Jungkook's influence. BTS as a group certainly had brand partnerships, but they never achieved this kind of individual-centered lifestyle dominance. Jungkook's ability to embody both global star power and relatable authenticity created a fashion milestone that the group, as 7 members, could not replicate. His image alone became synonymous with an international brand, something rarely seen even in Western entertainment. Another area where Jungkook's individual achievements stood apart lies in live performances. BTS's group shows were massive spectacles, often filling stadiums with tens of thousands of fans. But Jungkook, as a soloist, carried entire stages alone, something that comes with a different kind of pressure. Performing as one person requires not only musical skill, but also stage presence, capable of sustaining audience attention for extended periods. Jungkook proved he could deliver performances with the energy, polish, and charisma of a full group. When he appeared at international events, he wasn't simply filling in as a member of BTS. He was headlining in his own right. The global response to these performances often surpassed expectations, with critics and casual viewers alike recognizing his ability to command a stage without reliance on group dynamics. This created another milestone, proving that a K-pop idol, often stereotyped as group-dependent, could thrive on the world's most competitive stages entirely on their own. BTS as a group took pride in performing largely in Korean, and their success was groundbreaking in showing that non-English music could thrive globally. However, this also limited their integration into certain Western media formats, where language often played a gatekeeping role. Jungkook's solo trajectory, while rooted in his Korean identity, leaned into bilingual accessibility. His ability to blend Korean and English seamlessly in his projects expanded his reach to audiences who might have been hesitant with fully Korean tracks. Importantly, this wasn't about abandoning his roots. It was about bridging the gap between global music and cultural identity. In doing so, Jungkook achieved a milestone even BTS had not, integrating into Western mainstream formats without sacrificing authenticity. His bilingual approach allowed him to reach listeners who might otherwise remain passive, creating a smoother cultural entry point. Another achievement that stands out is Jungkook's positioning as a generational figure. BTS as a collective were often hailed as spokespeople for youth worldwide, but Jungkook alone embodied this role in ways that became more personal and relatable. Young people across the globe began to view him not just as a pop star, but as a model of self-discipline, artistry, and balance between humility and ambition. His lifestyle choices, workout routines, and even casual hobbies turned into global trends. He wasn't just representing music, he was representing a way of life. This level of influence is something BTS, as Seven, never fully captured. Their collective message was powerful, but it remained tied to music and performance. Jungkook extended it into everyday identity and cultural aspiration, making him a reference point not only for fans, but for those seeking inspiration in broader lifestyle contexts. Perhaps the most telling milestone is speed. BTS worked tirelessly for years to break into Western spaces, gradually building their reputation until they reached the peak of global stardom. Jungkook, however, often achieved similar levels of recognition in a fraction of the time. His solo tracks charted within hours of release, his brand deals became global news within days, and his performances reached viral status overnight. The compressed timeline of his milestones illustrates how his personal appeal acted as a catalyst that transcended even the momentum of BTS. This is not to diminish the group's journey without BTS. Jungkook's path may not have existed at all, but it does highlight how, once given the opportunity to stand alone, Jungkook accelerated achievements that previously took years to build.